Now, imagine if you weren't allowed access to the internet, so you weren't able to access any websites or social media. Well, that's exactly what's happened to the people of Indian-administered Kashmir. The region did not have access to the internet for more than 150 days after the Indian government ordered a shutdown following a controversial constitutional change to the status of the territory. An Indian Supreme Court ruling has led to a partial restoration this weekend, ending the longest outage in any democracy. But the slower 2G connection only allows access to around 300 government-approved sites, and there's still no social media.
When I switched my phone on, I was excited to access internet services after so long. But I could only access the website of the Jammu and Kashmir University and a bit of cricket news. That's it. It was quite slow.
I'm a student and I need to apply to universities for scholarships, which I could easily do at home. But because of no internet, I haven't been able to do much.
It takes about an hour or two for any web page to open, so it hasn't helped.
Let's get more on this. With me now is Nitasha Kaul, an expert on Kashmir and is originally from Srinagar in Indian-administered Kashmir. Good to have you with us. Thanks for coming in. What more do we know about what access has been restored?
So from everything that we know, the access that has been restored is partial, it's restricted, and so it's only 2G, which is not very functional for a whole lot of things. It's limited in the sense that, as your report just pointed out, a lot of news websites are not allowed from what one hears, including Reuters, AP, and Indian Express and others. Social media is not allowed. So essentially, the problem with all of this, of course, is also that it's arbitrary. I mean, we don't really know for what reason the websites that are not being allowed are not being allowed, and why this something that should be people's fundamental right to be able to access the internet and to be able to communicate is being given to them as if it's a favor that's being done after 150 plus days. Okay, and how restrictive has the lack of internet access been to the people who live there for all these months? Well, there has been extensive documentation of that. In fact, in my congressional testimony in October last year, I pointed out the multi-dimensional damage that this has done to the people there in terms of businesses, medical access, educational institutions, students who are studying through distance education, people just being able to contact their relatives. So the hardship to people in living in present-day society, it's been unimaginably harsh on them. And also the internet access that has been restored comes with all kinds of riders, including that no misuse must happen. So of course, all of anything that will be usable will also be completely surveilled. So people have no privacy and no digital access as we normally know it. Well, Narendra Modi, the Indian Prime Minister's defence in doing this in the first place was that the internet blackout was for security reasons. He said it was aimed at restricting the ability of what he called armed militants backed by Pakistan to communicate. What do you make of that? Well, I think that the speciousness of that rhetoric has become quite clear, because the very idea that this was being done for the development and security of Kashmir, well, certainly not for the development of Kashmiris or for their security. And how does stopping ordinary people and collectively punishing a whole population help them to somehow feel better about any of this? The very fact that the Chief of Indian Defence Forces recently said that they proposed de-radicalization camps for Kashmiri children because children speaking to each other are radicalized each other. I mean, this betrays a completely strange way of thinking about communication. Surely the way to address any problem is not to stop people and silence them and suffocate them, and that is a very counterproductive strategy, as is becoming ever more evident. So I would completely, and not just me, I think many people, most people in fact, who are looking at what has been happening to the Kashmiris for this amount of time, and how that is part of just a chapter in a much longer history of what they have been going through, the brutalization, the impunities and so on, would agree that this is no way to increase anyone's security, be they Kashmiris or Indians. Just briefly, do you feel, though, at least that the easing of these restrictions and the allowing of some access will ease tensions, will improve relations? I wish I could say yes, but I don't think so, because I think it has become quite clear to everyone that this is being done only because of the Supreme Court judgment, and at a time when the government could not have done anything otherwise. And the fact that it is so limited, so partial and so restrictive and that we don't really know. There is no accountability in terms of we don't know why it was off for so long. We don't know why the websites that are still blocked are blocked. So there's a problem with this arbitrary dispensation as if it's a favor, and we don't know whether it's going to be there in Feb or at any other time, or when will it be switched off again.
Okay, Nitasha Kaul, thank you very much for coming in and telling us more about it. Thank you.